So, as another big hurricane heads our way, let's not forget Harvey and what it showed us after all that havoc. We saw a Category 6 downpour of compassionate action. Anyone still bickering over politics appeared petty, no different than the guy complaining that his steak is overcooked to a starving child. The extremists who before could easily find a spotlight are left shouting at the bedroom mirror. So what's left? Cooperation. Let's take this debt deal. I know. How dare Donald Trump make a deal with evil Nancy Pelosi? Conservatives, they're really ticked. But this is clearly related to the hurricanes. What's he supposed to do? And should you be surprised he was a deal maker before he was a Republican? We knew that. It's one reason he won. Trump does what suits him or what suits America. And that's the point. You can disagree with him on small stuff, but if you think that he gets the big picture, then so what? That America First stuff, what if he means it? Then party line deviations are forgivable. After all he did was put America first, or in this very case, an American crisis first, figuring that the food fights can happen 3 months from now, and they will. The media is shocked, but you're not. Trump may know what America is looking for right now, and it's not a fight. Not when you're reeling from 2 hurricanes. You want help, not haggling. The tips can come later when everyone is safe and dry. And so as we unite to face these threats, I feel for the critics. But as Rachel Maddow said to Chris Matthews, darling, we'll always have Russia. Right, Dana. I think Donald Trump acted in good faith to keep the government going while dealing with these disasters. But the conservatives, if you go on Twitter, they're ticked off. They feel that they were proven correct, that he's not really a conservative. Do they have a reason to be upset?
Well, I think in some ways, yes, partly because President Trump had all the leverage going into the meeting in order to get the debt ceiling passed for 18 months so that he could clear the decks and do all the other things that he wants to do. One of the reasons you have debt ceilings is, well, actually, I actually think that you don't necessarily need them anymore because it always gets raised, and they're supposed to be used in order to cut spending. That's what the Republicans actually wanted to do. That wasn't going to happen when you have the hurricane relief happening at the same time. So I can see the frustration, though, because it was the Treasury Secretary that wanted the 18 months. And President Trump didn't make a deal. He just took the first offer that was made. And so 3 months from now, we'll be sitting back here. The reason I think that there's also frustration is that if you go in with a plan because you have all the leverage against your opponent and you give that away, if the most important thing is tax reform and you want that done before December, you actually now have to have another debt ceiling fight in December, and it muddies the waters. It makes things difficult.
Speaking of muddy waters, Jesse, don't you think, though, that if he'd gotten bogged down in this sort of thing, it would look bad, and it may have been bad because you're dealing with some serious devastation, and maybe he's saying, like, I'll deal with this now, you can have this, and later, I trust you in good faith that we will work together. That's my theory.
I agree. I think Trump got trapped this summer, and Harvey gave him a little bit of an escape hatch. He wasn't able to govern with Republican majorities. They failed him, especially with Obamacare. So now he hits bottom at Charlottesville, but then he got a little lifeline with Harvey because he recognized the spirit of unity that came out of Texas, and he seized on it, and he capitalized on it, and he is a deal maker. You say the president's like the weather, where he's always swirling and he's always around. He's not an ideologue, so he goes into this debt ceiling battle, and both sides are on this side, both sides are on that side. They're dug in, and he says, you know what? Listen, we're not going to do this. He reaches across the aisle, shakes hands with the Democrats, and that's a signal to the Republicans and say, you know what? You guys better unite and get your act together because I'm going to wheel and deal and triangulate. Anyway, the Republicans always lose on debt ceiling fights. They always cave. He just did it early and is now going to take the hit. So he gets rid of Harvey. He gets that money out there. He funds the military, and the government keeps spending. And at the same time, the next 3 months, he can go out and sell tax reform. What this does, though, it does set up this huge, intense showdown in December where you have DACA. You have the wall funding. You even have a Obamacare fix. You have tax reform. So that's going to be a huge fight.
Can I be honest? Let's just be honest. If McConnell and Ryan had come into the meeting and said, you know what, we think that we should take the deal that the first offer that Pelosi and Schumer are offering, then what would the Trump supporters have said? They would have said, oh, they're the weak ones. I mean, that's why I think the debate's actually very frustrating, because you can defend this on either side, but let's just be honest about it. If they had done this, you guys would have gone crazy against them.
I think he was looking for a moment to say, hey, you know what? We're going to be bipartisan, come together. This is a new governing coalition.
That's why he did that to his Treasury Secretary in the meeting?
This is, well, the Treasury Secretary now says we can now sell tax reform
Everybody's
for the
on
next
board.
3 months. Everybody's on board. And I don't know if the country didn't want a stomach for this.
But they weren't going to have to.
Over a debt ceiling while
They weren't
people
going to have to. The Democrats were going to vote for it.
But here's the thing, too. So Republicans have gotten concessions before with the debt ceiling. We did it with the Budget Control Act against President Obama. I was working in Congress at the time where we did get concessions for the sequestration. So and the problem is that Democrats are going to do that in 3 months from now on issues like immigration and tax reform.
But I think, like Dana said, you have money for Harvey coming in, and you have North Korea now on the point of destruction. You need to fund the government.
I think this was a shot across the bow to Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, because I think President Trump is very frustrated at their failure to get things like health care reform done. But this, to be fair, this was not a deal, right? Like, we talk about the art of the deal. This was not the art of the deal. This is the art of the giveaway. He gave Democrats every single thing that they want. And to add insult to injury, he went out to North Dakota, a state that he won by 36 points, brought Heidi Heitkamp, one of the most vulnerable Democrats in the entire country, on stage and said she was a good woman, propped her up. I've worked on campaigns. You have to believe that her people, her re-election campaign, were sitting there saying, you just threw us a lifeline. This is the golden ticket. They're going to use this in campaign ads, and also
she's going to vote for the tax package, and then she's going to lose to a Republican the next election. So I think he accomplishes both goals.
But look, I think bipartisanship, we need more of it. I don't blame him for wanting to reach across the aisle. I think there's room for that with tax reform, and I think that's the reason people elected him. They wanted him to get things done. They wanted something different. That being said, this was not a deal. He could have done better. This was a giveaway. And even given them circumstances, he could have got more from them, and he didn't.
All right. Juan, I want to add this other piece to this. Donald Trump tweeted reassurances about DACA at the behest of Nancy Pelosi. Did you see that?
I sure did.
So this should make you happy, right? It's like he's like him and Nancy, and Nancy saying, hey, you got to tell everybody that nothing's going to happen, and he did it. That's got to...
Well, she got him to go on the record.
Yeah.
But you know what strikes me in all this is I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you guys, and I think, boy,
you're just loving
look at the Republicans and how, you got a Republican majority in the House, a Republican majority in the Senate, you got a Republican president, and they've been unable to govern. And so now you see the factions splitting, and in fact, Trump accentuating the differences. And I think, he had dinner with Paul Ryan tonight, but the fact is, he threw Paul Ryan under the bus big time, because Ryan had said this was an unacceptable deal. He said it explicitly. And you have Mitch McConnell up there who's trying to push the situation so that you can get tax reform done. That's what Steve Mnuchin was talking about. Mnuchin wants a tax reform deal, ideally more than just a tax cut. Trump apparently was more interested in avoiding the idea of a jam-packed, potentially explosive September and giving himself time.
But now we
he didn't do so in such a way that he would actually resolve the problem. In fact, as you were saying, it now becomes more of an explosive situation in December, and Democrats wholly advantage.
Well, and even things with, like, the wall, trying to get funding for the wall. He loses leverage in that debate because Democrats could tie the debt ceiling vote to immigration and blanket amnesty and not getting things like the wall done. So,
I think these are all important issues if there were no hurricanes. If there were no hurricanes, I'd go, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But we have 2 hurricanes, and I think he said on good faith, you know what? We got 3 months. I'll see you in 3 months. It's going to be bad in 3 months, but right now, let's focus on what's happening.
So Greg,
let me get this straight.
Let me just get this straight, because I'm looking into this other world here. I'm saying to myself, so you mean Trump supporters will back him no matter what he does, even if he sticks his finger in their eye?
I don't think Trump supporters have a lot of sympathy for Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan.
Oh,
so when those guys get
which is fair.
I don't think there's a lot of people crying.
I said it's fair to be frustrated at Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell.
Wait a second. These are Republican leaders. They're elected officials.
Well, they
haven't
led
their
one.
job.
If they had led, we would have had Obamacare repealed.
Can I respond? I want to respond to Juan's question because it's a good one. How can they deal with this? Number one, I go back to the big picture, the big thing. Trump did a few big things. Number one, he beat Hillary. That's number one. Number two, he got Gorsuch. Number three, he killed the Paris Accords. Number four, he flattened ISIS. He reduced regulations. He responded swiftly to disaster. You get to this point, it's like, I kind of think he gets me I'm okay with this.
Yeah, but you look at the numbers, and look at the numbers among Republicans.
Yeah.
You see them declining, even among his core supporters,
Maybe they're
Greg.
Democrats.
And I think they feel like he has disappointed them. And then, of course, you have all the constant tweeting and controversies that I don't think help to unify the Republican brand.
And we'll talk to you about the Republican Party. You stick with the Democrats.
Yeah, oh yeah. You're in crisis. That's what you're getting wet, I think, right now.
All I know is I really enjoyed watching CNN and have to admit what a great job Trump did talking about the hurricane
How awkward
today.
were those newsroom meetings?
Oh my God. You're just going like, wow, he did a really good job.
You have to say what?
Let's talk about Russia now.
Where's
some ass just now. I was watching CNN after that presser where he brought up and like they sat there and go like, I can't beat that.
And can Juan talk about how great of a statesman the president is for agreeing with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer? Isn't that what you guys want?
Oh, yes.
Where was all that, Juan?
The Chuck and Nancy show. But I just can't believe that Republicans are sitting here saying, oh, he did a great job, just wonderful. Wow. If I said that, you guys would be down my throat.
That is true. No, it's not. It's not true.